All right, we're live. Hey everybody, it's Jeffrey here with Auto Alchemy, and today I'm actually going to be interviewing Emily, or Pucokie, as she's known in MBTI circles, and she's also here with Pumpkin. So Emily, if you want to say a few words about yourself and your channel, and also a few words about your cat, please feel free to do so.
Hi, I'm Emily, or Pucokie, like Jeffrey said. This is Pumpkin. He's an ENFJ. I'm an INFJ, and I have a channel where I discuss MBTI / typology / socionics, but I'm going to get into like more things like more personal development and lifestyle stuff in the future. But yeah, I mean, I'm 25. I'm a Leo. So
Awesome. I don't know too much about astrology, actually. It's something that I'd like to look into just to scratch like a curious itch. But yeah, awesome. If you guys haven't checked out Emily's channel, you should do so, although I have a sneaking suspicion that pretty much all of my subscribers came from your channel.
really? Let's pause. Hello?
Uh-oh.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened right there.
Yeah, I thought you had just left.
No,
okay.
it like your whole face like paused and then
Oh boy.
it went
Okay.
silent.
Well,
You think it's
anyway,
an internet connection?
maybe. I haven't had any trouble before, but we'll
Okay.
try to plow through. Yeah. Well, I was just thanking you for showing up and participating in this. Basically, for a while now, I've been wanting to do a series on self-growth through typology and more specifically kind of transcending your type, because I think that a lot of people, when they learn their type, they kind of use it as a justification for whatever bad behavior or bad personality traits they have, like, you know, just INFP things. This is who I am. Like, you know, deal with it. I shouldn't have to. I'm too in my feels to have to focus on your feels or whatever.
Yeah.
So I see typology as being more, for me, it's more about like learning my limitations and saying, okay, I've got to like somehow jump over those or use my strong points to address them in clever or creative ways. So I felt like you would be a pretty good example, because it seems like you're very committed to like constant improvement and bettering yourself. And yeah, sorry, I'm distracting myself over here. But yeah, so I guess I would like to start off by saying, like, let's strip away the MBTI jargon for a minute. And I want you to take us back to 13-year-old Emily and tell us a little bit about what she was like. What were her demons? What was she good at? Because I feel like that point in your life it's almost like all of those big themes are amplified in a way just by the hormonal changes and the dramatic life changes.
Yeah. So I guess 13.
No,
Oh
you
yeah.
got. I didn't
We have
see
Henry now. Yeah, Henry just couldn't. So by the way, these two are worst enemies. Like they fight all the time.
It's starting now.
No, this is not fighting. It's actually pretty scary. Like Henry is really scary. But anyways, 13-year-old Emily, I would have been in middle school. So I was quiet. I was artistic. Like I kind of was known for like being like the creative or like artistic person. I used to draw and I was in chorus, so I did a lot of singing. I also was kind of mischievous. I had this one like kind of school friend that he was actually like, he was like a friend but also an enemy, so like a frenemy kind of. And I don't know, I think I have said this on my channel at some point. I definitely have, but at that time I used to lick Dove chocolates and give it to him during lunch without his knowledge. So But yeah, for the most part, I was pretty quiet. I used to cry a lot.
Hmm.
Yeah, I had some friends that I would hang out with, and I also was really like, um, people would come to me for advice, and I actually used to counsel adults. Like I would talk to like adults. I would talk about adult issues,
Mhm.
like arguments and I don't know, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
that was
Okay.
kind of, I don't know, it was kind of a watered down version, I guess, of.
Yeah. That was good. What do you think motivated the Dove chocolate thing? Like, what was
Um,
the the nature of your frenemyship?
um, it's actually like it was an ongoing thing with him. And the thing I didn't realize, because I didn't really regard, like, I was like, this guy's annoying. Like, he was like in all of my classes, and we were kind of forced to be together. One of the first things he told me is, don't fall in love with me. And I'm like, don't worry, I'm not.
Yeah,
But
that's a good way to make an enemy.
yeah, no, but in the background, he had a crush on me the whole year, and I didn't know.
Yeah.
Um, so we would kind of, I don't know, get each other in trouble. Like he got me into silent lunch for,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and just like stupid things like that. But yeah, it just was, my friend and I were bored, and we wanted to mess with him.
Mhm.
We didn't like the Dove chocolate, so
Yeah.
it wasn't, I mean, it's definitely not something that's to be proud of, but
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's kind of, I mean, I want to talk more about things not to be proud of or things that you've kind of like learned to address with time, you know. 'Cause
I guess, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I was kind of a little hell beast whenever I was in middle school. Not all the time, but I definitely, because I was often bullied. I kind of like transferred that and like found a friend who was also an enemy and would like kind of like pick on him in weird minor ways. And I feel bad about it. And I
Yeah.
now see like why I did it and why I shouldn't have done it.
I mean, I was also bullied in middle school as well.
Yeah.
Actually, something I forgot that I think is actually a really defining moment is I actually got into personal development when I was 13. So
Wow.
I listened to the audiobook of The Secret at
Mhm.
13, and that kind of was my. Have you ever heard of The Secret?
Yeah, I've actually read it, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, but yeah, so that was kind of what got me into personal development at like a pretty young age. So
Wow, that's crazy. That's amazing. That was going to be one of my questions. Like, when did you, start thinking about this stuff? And I wish that I had started thinking about it so early. That's great. I know that INFJs kind of have a reputation sometimes for being old souls, and I think that that also exemplifies that mentality a little bit.
yeah, I mean, I've always gotten along with like older people, and also people with special needs, like
Hmm.
especially like there was this one girl. I guess I was 14 at the time, and her name was Lucy, and I forget what she had, but she would have seizures all the time, and she had, the cognitive, or like her mind was the age of like a 2-year-old,
Hmm.
and she would just like go up to me and like pull my shirt up and like kiss my belly button, and she just always wanted to be around me,
Hmm.
for some reason. She was like, um, she was in our course class, and I had a lot of instances like that, but kids my own age didn't really, they thought I was weird, so.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, so you mentioned that you were relatively quiet. I feel like that must be something that you've obviously you're not like an explosively loud human being, but I know that you've mentioned on your channel that you thought that you were an ENFJ for a while. So it sounds like at some point you kind of started working on that extroverted feeling more. Like when did that happen? And was there a specific situation that forced you to think about that stuff, or did it just come naturally with age?
Well, I've always been like more extroverted at home.
Okay.
And like kind of more crazy, like just vivacious and all this other stuff at home, like, which was kind of funny because my stepsister, I remember she would, because she wasn't in the same grade as me, but she like went to the same school. She was actually super surprised when people would say that I was so quiet because I was just like the opposite at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was just like the crazy, like I was like the wild, like I mean not wild, but I was just like I would like do little skits, like act and record skits.
Mm-hmm.
And like I always wanted to be the star of the skit little show we would do. And like, but I guess when it became more public was, I've talked about this a lot on my channel, but my freshman year of college, I just wanted to be known for not being like the quiet girl that always cried. I wanted to be more extroverted and outgoing. So that was kind of what made that come about. And actually, it wasn't even that I thought I was an extrovert. Almost everybody at that time, I would say my sophomore and junior year especially, thought I was an extrovert because I was that committed to being so outgoing.
Mm-hmm. Was it hard for you to be that way?
Yeah. I
It
mean,
just take a little push.
looking back, it was actually, I mean, it took a lot of strength inwardly for me to be like that. And it was also, I didn't realize this until my junior year when it really became kind of bad for me because I never got alone time. And as an INFJ, like, or just like an introvert in general, if you never get alone time, it's just not good. And so
Yeah.
started to be really draining. But
Yeah, I could see that.
yeah.
So I guess you would say that did you go to school away from home?
Like university away from home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like an hour away.
Okay.
I mean, I don't mind.
The perfect time to reinvent yourself.
Yeah. And I also liked because not everybody that I like, the majority of people that I went to high school with, that I grew up with, weren't going to the same university as me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that helps. Weirdly enough, I went to school 4 hours away from where I grew up, but I also was going to school with like 7 different people that I went to high school with.
that's crazy.
Yeah, but it was kind of like we all knew about the school because of like through one friend, and we eventually all made our way there.
So you guys all kind of applied knowing that you were going to go?
It was like different years. So,
okay.
like my best friend's older brother was the first person to go to this college, and then his best friend went, and then his best friend's girlfriend went, and then my best friend was like, I think I want to go here. And I said, me too. And then there was another random person who wasn't actually that like heavily involved in our friend group. But yeah, it was a weird little sequence of events. Doesn't really happen too often, I don't think.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool to like come into like to enter a new world, but also have like a support system already established in a way.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really know too many people going into college.
Yeah.
Which I was very happy about. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in a way, that's probably better just for you developmentally. I don't know. I think that it kind of helped me to avoid working on things and the way that you worked on things, just because I had like, well, especially like with my best friend, like I lived with him throughout most of college, and it's like you kind of give me your unconditional acceptance in a way that other people might not if I was trying to like build a life on my own. So you can be like more codependent or whatever. That's how it felt anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense though.
Yeah. Well, I do wonder if you could like go back in time to maybe 13-year-old Emily, like what would you tell her as far as like what to look out for in the future, what kinds of things she needed to start focusing on? I mean, I guess if you're already thinking about self-development at 13, then if you could go back to 10-year-old Emily.
Well, I mean, I would say even at 13, I think the biggest thing, I don't regret it, like, because I don't really, I wouldn't want to change anything. But if I had the ability to, and like if I was kind of forced to, I would probably tell myself, be yourself at school.
Mm.
Like, don't be, because I was just like hyper introverted. You want to think of like the most quiet person at your school, and I was probably that person. The person that like never talked to anybody. Like I wouldn't even really talk to the person that was sitting next to me in class.
Mm.
Like it was very few people, and I just felt like people would think I was too weird, or like it would just be even worse. Like I was okay in a weird way. I was kind of okay with people bullying me. I wasn't okay with it, but it was okay with me to the sense that they were bullying someone that was kind of like a shell of a person rather than bullying me for me.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, like in
So
a
it was kind of
way.
an act in a way.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
you're good.
You go ahead.
No, no, no. I was just gonna say that I totally get that. Like you're trying so hard to sort of maybe you weren't trying to protect yourself or your identity, but in a way you kind of were cloistered a little bit, and that didn't even help. Like you were still bullied, you were still made a target, so you might as well have, you know, gone all out and been yourself.
Yeah. Well, and also I had like this like for a while I had like this paranoia that people would figure out where I lived and stuff. And because it's kind of weird because I think a lot of people do that because they're embarrassed of where they lived, but with me it was
Hmm.
I lived in one of the nicest neighborhoods in my city, but the people that lived in that neighborhood were like the meanest popular
Yeah.
kids at our school.
Hmm.
And I didn't want to be associated with them. And I didn't want people to like me just because like my parents had money,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
it does.
Because I noticed the people around me, and a lot of those people, they became popular because their dad drove a BMW, which is just really stupid to me. Like,
Yeah.
and I kind of like recognized that as at a young age. But
Hmm.
so
But your main advice would be to be more to be more willing to embrace your own uniqueness and let that show.
well, yeah, just be myself and not be afraid of things. Like I was too afraid to like sing in front of people. I was too afraid like anything that had to do with people, I would get really like high anxiety about. And
Yeah.
yeah, so
Well,
just
hey,
kind of yeah, and also realize that boys are gonna like you when you get older too, because at the time it was like
that was something that you were really heavily worried about.
well, not really, but like the guy that I liked at the time, well, actually, I didn't like anybody at the time, but the guy that I liked the year before for like 2 years, he like rejected me, and I just felt like, oh, nobody's, I guess I'm not appealing.
Yeah,
So,
no, that's easy to do. I definitely have been in positions where it's like I become kind of blind to other opportunities because I'm so fixated on one person, and I like this is the person that I'm attracted to. This is a person that I want in my life, and then there are obviously, I mean that doesn't necessarily relate to what you said, but I have been like I put too much stock into one person's perception of me, even though there are other people who obviously like me and other people who will like me in the future. And yeah, that's a weakness of mine, I think. Something that I think that I still struggle to address.
I guess something going off of that is something I kind of um, figured out from both my first instance with unrequited love, so like my freshman year of high school, and my second instance with unrequited love, my freshman year of college. Both of those guys, I'm friends with them on Facebook. You know, there's a chance that they may see this video, and they might have seen the videos that I have about them. Like, they would know it was them.
Yeah.
But I felt that way as well. Like if they don't like me, Henry, really? If they don't like me, then nobody will. But you can't have that like mentality, because why would you want to be with someone that doesn't like you for who you are? Like, doesn't like the qualities that you have. So it's like, there's a lot of opportunities out there. So
yeah, that's a tricky scenario, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Henry agrees.
Yeah. Henry barks or growls at anything he hears outside.
So what would you say? I think I kind of know what the answer would be to this question, but what is like your current self-development goal or project? Like, what's something that you're actively working towards right now?
So I want to get to the point where I'm able to really help others, like in a one-on-one sense. Like, I hate to use the term like life coach. I mean, I eventually want to do that, but I don't know if I'm like, able to be a life coach at this point. But I would do it for free. I just like want to help people. Like, I don't actually want it to be like a real job right now, but I would love to like talk with people and just like, hear their story and stuff. And like through my YouTube videos, like I said, like my channel's gonna expand in the sense that I'm gonna throw in, other topics that are a little bit more broad. And some of those are personal development. So I kind of just like, my goal right now is just to really help people and like obviously grow and always be like learning stuff. Cause like I read quite a bit or listen to audiobooks, especially about personal development. That's what I read the most.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's really what I guess my hope is.
Yeah.
What about you?
What, me?
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, my answer is kind of similar. At least, I don't know if that's like the most immediate goal to me, but I've never talked about this on my channel. This past year, I had applied to grad school for a very like specific particular program, Masters of Applied Positive Psychology at University of Pennsylvania. It's like the school for like the narrow portion of psychology that I'm really excited about, and a lot of it is like mindset type stuff, or like how do you enter flow? What are the conditions of like a good human psychology? Like, what do we do to create and cultivate those conditions for as many people as possible? And so weirdly enough, I also want to do like something one-on-one in the long run. I mean, I have a job right now that I actually quite enjoy, so I'm not really too like, this is a very rare occurrence for me. Usually I'm trying to scramble to get away from a position that I'm in, but I'm happy where I am. And that's sort of a long-term goal of at least having, even if I ended up using those particular skills in my job as like a trainer or like a team leader or something, like that's fine with me. Like, I want to help people develop maybe like roadmaps for growth or whatever in their position if I did it in my current job. That's a very like roundabout way of addressing the question, but yeah, that's something that I care about. And then obviously building my channel, trying to write more. I've been like, it's hard for me to do two things at once in a way. Like, when I'm focusing on YouTube, I don't write. And then whenever I feel the temptation to write, I get pulled away from YouTube. So learning to balance is
yeah. I mean, it's a hard balance, and I think it's, but I think it's worth doing. And I think that's awesome that you're wanting to do all that. That's a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. And I guess I didn't finish the story. So I applied to this program and I got accepted, and I felt like really good about everything, but the financial aid package wasn't really like up to snuff, and I knew that I would be like majorly in debt after all the interest accrued. So like right now I'm just trying to save up money so that I can reapply in the future and then actually do it. Oops.
Wow. Well, congratulations for getting in, and
Yeah.
I think that's probably smart. Right now I'm trying to pay off student debt. I don't have too much,
hmm
but yeah.
Yeah, that was the reason that I went to my undergrad university is that it's kind of like geared towards poor Appalachian kids, which I was one, and I didn't really have. I like walked away only owing like $1,200, so I don't have any
Wow.
to pay off any more for my undergrad. So that's, but I don't ever want to get into a position where I like owe $100,000 or something. So I have to be smart about any future education.
Wow. Well, and scholarships and stuff like that. I mean, actually, I think it's awesome that you're wanting to do it in the future, because actually, like, even your YouTube channel in the future could be not only an asset, but you could even like
Yeah.
make passive income from it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
definitely. But that's like, there's a lot of work to do to get to that point.
Yeah.
But maybe I can do it.
Don't say maybe. You already to go into positive psychology. Don't say maybe.
That's right. That's right.
Say it will happen.
It will happen. It's going to be a thing.
You may not know when or how, but it's going to happen.
Yeah. And if it doesn't happen, it's only because no, this is a positive spin, I promise.
Okay.
If it doesn't happen, it's only because I found something like a new path that's even more exciting and even more fitting to what I need. So
oh, very good answer.
Yeah.
Very good answer.
I wanted to talk a little bit. So I've been reading a lot, or attempting to read a lot of like the original Carl Jung, like depth psychology stuff as of late. And there's a pretty big theme as far as like the concept of integrating your shadow. And so like kind of taking ownership of the characteristics of your psyche that you've neglected or like pushed aside. And I obviously think of it in terms of like, for like an ENTP, like the INTJ would be like, I need to like somehow access those functions to like become a better, stronger version of myself. Do you feel like there's any truth to that? Like, do you see anything in ENFPs that you would like to integrate more into the way that you act in the world, or does that just not resonate?
No, it definitely does. I mean, a lot of, well, I say a lot. I have a good amount of ENFP friends, and some of my better friends are ENFPs. And I don't know, I admire a lot about them, actually. Mm-hmm. There's a lot that I see from them that makes me, I don't know, I love the authenticity and their ability to be, I think ENFPs are very direct people. Mm-hmm. In a kind of a weird way. Like, they kind of say things that everybody kind of is thinking, but is too afraid to say.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had a number of ENFPs in my life, and they never fail to do that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not always the most appropriate moments, but
that's, I really like, yeah, me too. And that's kind of the thing, right? Like, everybody, like somebody who's really high in FE might be really accommodating sometimes when they shouldn't be. And it's like learning to like integrate the opposite when it's appropriate and kind of exercise your judgment situationally, which is hard because you kind of just want to do what comes naturally.
Yeah.
Also, Joey, your friend Joey, commented, he's the only person in the chat here. He said that you are totally appealing. Look at that hair.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, every single time, I mean, I'm just gonna call Joey out right now. Every single time I have like bangs, he's like, I love the bangs. It's funny.
And Joey, since you're the only one talking, you can't hide in the comments. You've been called out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so ENFPs, they're blunt. I think I missed, because I saw Joey's comments, I think I missed anything else you said. So I'm sorry. Would you mind like reiterating?
I think they're blunt. I think they're creative in their own, in a different way. Like it's more,
Yeah.
it's a little more scattered in some way, but also it's like, I find ENFPs very intellectual and they're very deep people.
Mm.
And I also like the eccentric side to them. Like they can be, I don't know. It's just like, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice. How do you view extroverted sensing, and like what role does it currently play in your life?
um so I mean extroverted sensing has obviously never been, well, especially when I was younger, wasn't always my strong suit. And I have found in years past that I don't know, I'm trying to become more in tune with that. So like one of the ways is I guess this kind of goes with the extroverted ness that I tried to have more so in college. But anytime like at a party or something, or like some type of get together where there was dancing involved, I would always be the first on the dance floor, like starting it off.
Wow.
And just kind of like being really direct, well, trying to be direct with people, and like you're not being afraid to like go up to someone and telling them how you feel. And even so far as like doing really crazy things like breaking into an insane asylum, which I did, and
Wow.
licking random puddles on the road. Yes, just like really weird stuff.
Huh.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get, well, I haven't really right now, but I want to get into fitness more. I really want to get into really good shape, and
Mm-hmm.
that's something that will really test my extroverted sensing.
Gosh, yeah, I could see that. I think that anybody who has low sensing is going to struggle. Any kind of sensing is going to struggle with that. I definitely need to focus on that, and it's very difficult. I have like a whole roadmap of how I want to like structure my day so that I'm working out in the morning while listening to a podcast or something. And I did it for like a day. It's just so hard to, it's like, oh, my body's so uncomfortable. I hate being reminded that I have a body.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It is hard. Like I understand, because like there's often times where this sounds really gross. I mean, Frank knows this about me, and I've joked about it before, but like I don't always take a shower. Like I know there's probably some people that are like, Emily is disgusting, but I don't take a shower every day. Or like I'm trying to more often, but I don't smell bad because I guess, I don't know. Like this sounds really gross. I mean, I take a shower pretty regularly, and I wash my hair like.
Hey, you can't backpedal.
Yeah, I know. I mean, if I was working out, I would shower like every
Yeah,
day. But
yeah,
yeah, like so people don't even know. And
yeah. I'll reciprocate the honesty here and say that like I had a friend staying with me a week or so ago, and he stayed for an entire week. And then on the last day, he was like, "Man, I think that I only took one shower the whole time I was here." And I said, "Don't worry, man. Me too." And that was the day that I had worked out. And then generally, it's just like I'll do it whenever things start seeming a little too funky.
yeah,
But if you're
I
working,
mean,
then you have to.
exactly.
And
And
I
also, oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, my mom. I mean, like for the longest time, and Joey, if you're still watching this, my mom is not an ISFJ. I was like so wrong about that. It was like so blatantly obvious, and I just like, my mom's an ISFP. So extroverted sensing is her creative function, her secondary function. So she's very in tune with extroverted sensing to a point that she's annoyed by me. And she's very, very much in the real world, and she'll be the first one to tell me, like, Emily, you need to take a shower. Like, not that I smell bad, but just in general, she'll be like, you need to do this. So it's kind of good because I have that. But yeah.
I tried to let Joey know that you were wrong about your mom, but I don't know if he's still watching.
That's okay.
Cool. Let's see. What else do I have here? You kind of already addressed like what I wanted to be the closing question a little bit, because you talked about wanting to work out more and focus on that. But yeah, generally, like 15 years from now, what do you think you will, if you could come back, well, how do you phrase that? Basically, what advice do you think future Emily would be giving to you right now? Like, what are the things that you know you might be ignoring, or things that you're not addressing as fully as you could be, that would make your life a lot easier or richer down the line?
Well, I guess, I mean, it's crazy to think, but in 15 years, I'll be 40. I'll be an old woman. Just kidding.
All of my 40-year-old viewers just got really offended.
Yeah, no. I guess, I'll have like a lot of wisdom, because at that point, hopefully I'll be married and I'll have children, and I'll be more established with what I want to do.
Yeah.
There's something I would tell like myself now.
Mm-hmm. Like, I guess what I'm thinking when I say that is, I have a feeling that a lot of people, maybe not everybody, but most people kind of know what they're ignoring that they should focus on. And so I could see like 43-year-old Jeffrey coming up to me and saying, dude, you really have to start like making your bed and focusing on the little things, because that's where you spend most of your time. And if you can't enjoy something as routine as washing the dishes or like preparing meals for yourself, you're going to be really unhappy when you're my age. So
Yeah.
like learn how to deal with like the introverted sensing world, and just relish in it and appreciate it for what it is.
I mean, I guess my future self would be telling my current self, which, I mean, I kind of am aware of the stuff, but to be more present, which I'm trying to do, and also to spend more time with the people that I love. Because I think 15 years down the line, I don't want to wish anybody's death, but there are people that are older in my life that are probably not going to be around. So that's kind of sad to think about, and I would want to spend time with them. Also, I think, so I have so many ideas in my head of stuff, even stuff I want to do, but also just like stuff I want to do for YouTube in general, because like YouTube's such a passion of mine, even though like I am still a smaller channel. But if I didn't do those things, I think I would regret that. Like, I think a lot of my regrets would come off of stuff that I didn't talk about, or I didn't, make when I was younger. But yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
I think also like taking chances. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I relate to that a lot, and that like with my YouTube channel, it's like I feel a lot of temptation sometimes to just like cave into my my anxiety about not making good enough content, or my anxiety about the people who crop up in my comments and say like, there's no way that you're an ENTP, there's no way that you're this or that. And it's like, do I really want to put energy into that? But I do, and I know that I would regret if I let myself be defeated by such minor things like that.
Oh yeah, because people are just like, I don't know why, but there's so many negative people out there that just want to tear you down, or just maybe they're misunderstood, and they want to, maybe they're not mean people, but they like will post or do something that's like the story I told you before. I mean, obviously we're not going to talk about it, but it's like these people, they may not be bad people, but they don't realize how much they're hurting someone like by the stuff they do. And yeah, don't listen to those people. Delete their comments, block them from your channel. I don't always block people from my channel, but I do delete comments that, even if they're not mean towards me, I've deleted some comments that I just felt like people that have said the N-word in my comments.
Oh, yeah.
Or people that have said that they
God.
don't think, you know, people have mental illness or something. Just
Mm-hmm.
stuff that I really feel like would be really not helpful for other people.
It's toxic. Yeah.
Yeah, it just, yeah, don't worry about those people.
Yeah. I didn't even know until like today that there was a section where like YouTube has comments that were maybe like in review, like
Oh, held for review.
yeah, held for review. And yeah, I saw a pretty nasty one in there that I did not push through.
Oh yeah.
Actually directed at me, but there was like a squabble between two people in my comment section.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, it is. You mentioned that you kind of wish that you could relax more, and I think that there's like a weird irony or paradox where INFJs, I think they tend to be sort of self-development focused and perfectionistic. And ironically, sometimes like the best thing that they could do for themselves is just like let it be sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's hard.
No, I think so. What about you? What are some other things that you would do in the future? Or tell yourself from the future?
Oh man. I mean, that really is the main one. Like developing some sort of routine and self-discipline is the top one. And then second would be just creating more in general, like either with writing or with YouTube or even with music. Like, I don't know if you heard my sad little ukulele song that I recorded, but I made a song that was about mistyping, like how people kind of mistype themselves, and it's silly, but it was fun. So just, yeah, I just want to make things. Like I really enjoy making things, and the final thing would be not fixating so much on relationships because I tend to get myself into trouble, and I think that I would just be better off I would be better off becoming the person that I need to be and then focusing on that half of the equation.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, thanks a lot.
No, I mean, I do agree because, like, I think, like, obviously I'm not completely where I want to be, but, like, I think part of the reason, like, you know, it's working out so far with, like, Frank and I is, like, you know, I guess both of us have kind of been trying to work on ourselves, and then we kind of, I don't know, happened upon each other, which little boy, you are not eating that. He's like destroyed so many like cords and stuff.
He's trying to hijack the conversation.
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely understand that. I think it really is crazy because, like, the right person comes and when you're least expecting it. And maybe the right person is in your life right now and you don't know. So, for example, Frank, I'll tell you a secret that, like, a lot of people don't know, and maybe Frank will be kind of upset that I said this, but I'm going to say it anyways. He was watching my channel before I watched his channel.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't even know about his channel, like, for, like, 3 months when he was watching it. And then I, like, you know, saw his channel was just being recommended to me, and I started watching it, and I was like, oh, whatever. Like, it was kind of this mutual thing where we're just like, oh, who's this? Yeah. And then it just, like, came about. But, yeah, it's interesting because, like, I never thought that we were going to date, and he didn't think that either, but it just kind of happened naturally. So.
Yeah, life can be weird.
Yeah.
Never know what's gonna pop up.
Exactly. You may have people that are watching right now that are, you know, someone that you might end up dating.
Oh gosh. Or someone that I've already dated who's stalking me.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yep. Who knows?
All right. So I think that's all I've got. I did want to ask if you had any parting words for young INFJs who are just kind of starting to focus on who they want to be or who they think they need to be. Like, what do you think like your standard INFJ should focus on?
Well, I think one of the things that INFJs think about, especially like younger INFJs, something I thought about a lot throughout my childhood and teenage years, is the feeling of being misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
Because I just felt like people didn't think the same way as me, and they wouldn't accept me for who I was. And I think in a way, like when you're younger, it's kind of that way. But I would say, you know, just do like, don't worry. Like as cliche as this sounds, don't worry about how people think of you, and don't worry about, do what you want to do. And I mean, just kind of, I feel like that's a pretty kind of, it applies to anybody, but that's what I would say is just also don't be afraid to like appear like you're trying, because something that was really hard for me growing up was to also try, because things just came really easy to me and I didn't feel like I needed to try.
Yeah.
If that made sense. And
No,
I feel
that's
like I would have done so much better in school, and like my life would be so much easier if I didn't try to make things harder for myself. Because I like deliberately made things harder for myself, like waiting to the last minute, doing things that were kind of self-deprecating in some ways, in order to not be like highlighted for like this good student. Or even though I wasn't a bad student, it was like I could have been like, one of the best students, what in my high school or whatever, but it was weird. I just didn't want that attention, and I didn't want, I don't know, kind of weird, if that makes sense. But I think a lot of INFJs may feel the same way.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for coming on my channel. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, thank you, Jeffrey.
Yeah, and thank you, Henry, for the guest appearance, as always.
And then Little Pumpkin.
Little Pumpkin.
Little Big Pumpkin.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Pumpkin didn't move at all.
Yeah, no, Pumpkin was right here.
Very lazy. Pumpkin should probably work on that for the sake of self-development, I think.
Well, Pumpkin's 16, so I think he has
he's in the golden years now.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks again, and thanks to everybody who tuned in today. Until next time.
All right. Bye, guys.